Kevin Bacon's foundation. I didn't thank everyone for coming in today, 5 o'clock on a Thursday. I know it's rough, but it's for a great cause. We're here to benefit Public Allies and 6 other nonprofits that are going to do a pitch contest. We're super excited about hearing the great work that they're doing in Chicago and around the nation. First, I want to give a special thanks to Peggy Kinnanes, who has been here for 16 years in the community, giving back to a lot of nonprofits and charitable organizations. So we're happy that we're able to partner with them and keep the ecosystem of giving continuing to go. So thank you so much. Kevin, do you want to say a few words about 6 Degrees?
Okay, SixDegrees.org is I took that idea of the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, which was sort of starting to dog me after a while. I thought it was going to go away, and it just kind of hung in there, and I finally said, well, maybe I got to figure out something positive to do with it, because it doesn't seem to be leaving me, and I can't seem to make any money off it myself. So I decided to see if there was something that we could do in a philanthropic way with the concept of 6 Degrees, and it's been through a lot of different changes. What we really have been working on now is trying to connect celebrities from sports, from music, from acting, theater, music, anything, with grassroots, interesting, not-for-profit charities that maybe do not get the kind of exposure that they need. They're not big, multi-million-dollar organizations. It's more people who are doing good work on the ground, businesses like this that are giving back to the community, and individuals who are working hard for a better world. And I've always kind of felt like if you take me out of this concept of 6 Degrees, it's really a beautiful concept, because it means that we are all connected, that what you do here in your community affects people on the other side of the world, and I think that everyone is kind of searching for connections with each other. That's really what social media is all about. So the idea is that a celebrity, if he happens to be in a place like Arlington Heights and happens to be doing something like playing music across the street, can slide in, and through 6Degrees.org, which Stacy runs, we can find something impactful to do in that community. That's really what we've been kind of focusing on. So that's it.
Thanks, Kevin. So today we're going to hear about 6 different organizations. They're going to pitch why they're doing great work, and at the end, Kevin gets to be judgmental.
I know. I'm the judge today. I'm not used to doing this.
It'll be a lot of fun. But before we do, we want to talk about Public Allies. And Peggy Kinnanes have been very, very gracious in donating a portion of the proceeds from all food and drink that's ordered today to Public Allies. So eat, drink, be merry as much as possible. So it's all going to a good cause. Let me introduce Patrice so she can talk a little bit about Public Allies and her role there.
Thank you so much. My name is Patrice Desir, and I'm the Executive Director of Public Allies. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Peggy Kinnanes. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Bacon. We are humbled and honored. We thank you for your financial support, more importantly, for your time, energy, and spirit. Why are we all here this evening? 6 Degrees, Public Allies staff, alum, friends of Public Allies. We are all here because a group of young, passionate people decided that instead of talking, instead of pointing, instead of patting themselves on the back, instead of turning a blind eye, they would create and do. They could not have imagined that 20 years later, we would all be gathered together this evening at this beautiful event as a result of their small action. In essence, that is what Public Allies is. We take young, passionate, diverse change makers, place them into nonprofits, in paid apprenticeships, give them values-based leadership training, and encourage them to create and do over the long term. And it works. It works because of the 6 alum we have pitching tonight. It works because of our 6,000 strong national alumni network, most of whom are working in the nonprofit and public sector. And it works because Public Allies is still standing strong 20 years after that small action by a group of young people. I have only been in my role for 3 weeks at Public Allies. I think I know already, though, why it's still standing strong. And that is its people, its staff. And so I just want to take a moment in my brief time to shine a spotlight on Public Allies Chicago staff. Come on, everybody that's here. They are the unsung heroes and the true backbone of Public Allies Chicago. Thank you, everybody. Have a good time. Good luck to the pitchers. Thank you so much.
Well, that was beautiful. I have no doubt that Public Allies will do great under your leadership. There's a lot of passion there, so we appreciate you. All right, so we're going to get started with the first contestant, pitcher, what do we call him, that nonprofit, is Ida Sanchez with Students Run Shy. And I thought we should go over quick little tidbits. Each contestant, or pitcher, that's what we're going to call them, has 3 minutes to explain their nonprofit to Kevin and to the crowd, okay?
We're going to need 2 microphones for that in the car.
Yeah, of course. And then after your 3 minutes, Kevin has any questions, he can ask those and give you guys a chance to clarify anything, and then we'll go on to the next.
Test.
Great. Perfect.
I think we'll...
Okay.
You want me to...
Did you use this one?
I think one.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Today we want to talk to you about Students Run Chai, a program that we are very passionate about.
My name is Aida Sanchez. I'm an educator, an SRC mentor, and a Public Allies alum, class of '94, the first class.
My name is Marco Galvan. I'm a civil engineer. I'm an avid runner and one of the co-founders of Students Run Chai.
Do you know what it takes to train for a marathon?
Show of hands out here. Anyone here? Anyone run a marathon here before? Cool. Anyone training for a marathon right now? No? No one's training for a marathon right now? Okay.
Runner's World magazine estimates that less than 1% of the U.S. population has run a marathon.
It makes sense. It's not easy to train for or complete one.
Achieving this amazing goal takes a lot of planning, preparation, discipline, and hard work.
Hell, it takes a lot of guts to even consider to train for one.
5 a.m. training runs during the week.
Giving up happy hour on a Friday so you can get up early on a Saturday morning for a long run.
6 a.m. long runs? Yep, it takes a lot of those too. But the life lessons that you learn along the way.
The second you finish up that 14, 16, 18-mile long run, you feel like $1,000,000.
It's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. You just ran some ridiculous distance and you're ready for the weekend, feeling like a kid in a candy store.
The lifelong running buddies that you make.
There's a common belief amongst runners that running buddies are forever. Your family, significant others, or best friends forever may piss you off, but a running buddy can do no wrong. This bond is for life, and they'll be there next to you, pushing you along the way.
And ultimately, proving to yourself what you are made of.
The In the end, when you cross the finish line, no matter how good or how bad the race went, you are transformed into this invincible being.
The experience will show you that there are no limits to your success.
Imagine taking on this nothing is impossible.
Imagine taking on this amazing challenge during your high school years.
Imagine being exposed to this experience at that age.
Imagine the impact that it would have had on your life. How would that change you?
We believe that the skills that our students learn through the experience will equip them with useful tools that will help them succeed out there in the world.
We are Students Run CHI, a youth mentoring program that trains and mentors high school students as they prepare to participate in the Chicago Marathon.
Our program teaches goal setting, responsibility, discipline, and health and wellness to any high school student that is up for the challenge.
We aim to transform them into confident, mentally tough individuals.
Our adult mentors train with students, creating an important sense of community by bridging the gap between cultures and socioeconomic backgrounds, bringing together students from a variety of Chicago area high schools and neighborhoods.
We started this program in 2014, and we are proud to say that this year, 29 students are getting ready to cross the finish line on October 9th, 2016.
Our goal is to empower young people to aim for larger-than-life goals.
We teach them that no goal worth doing comes easy.
That there is a big world outside of their home and community ready to be conquered.
That there are people in their community invested in their success.
Our program is 100% volunteer-driven and managed and continues to grow in a sustainable way since its foundation in 2014. All funds invested in our program are directly used to support our program and ensure its growth. Your support will bring tangible results.
Thank you.
That's great. That's awesome. Can I just ask you, how do you find the students? How do they find you?
So we typically connect with CPS teachers. We got a wide network of schools throughout the city, and we go to their schools and present to them that we have this program that we're offering, and that's how we get kids to sign up.
So how about the volunteers?
It's the running community. I mean, there's a big, very tight-knit running community in Chicago. You know somebody to somebody, and you just let them know. We have a Facebook page, which is basically our running blog, and that's how we make our announcements. But it's a lot of like, I know this person, and they see it, and we're like, hey, you want to join us? And it's just kind of very grassroots.
And do you have any kind of ties to anybody just for gear and shoes and equipment and stuff like that?
Yes, so there is a very small running store out on Lincoln Avenue called Universal Soul. And those, they're not in the position where they can straight up just donate shoes for 29 students, but they do us the favor of selling us all the shoes and uniforms at cost. So we end up paying about $40 to $60 per pair of shoes.
Oh, that's great.
When they're like about $150.
Awesome. Great job. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the next. Compassion IT, or just compassionate. Burrell Poe. Yeah, of course. No, it's all right. You're good.
Working the tech here.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
I feel like I should have worn my Simon Cowell t-shirt.
perfect. Read up. Good luck.
All right, thank you. If I can invite everyone in the room to close your eyes for just a brief moment. And take a deep breath in and out. Okay, I want everyone to think about a time where you either gave or received compassion. So any time where you saw someone suffering and you helped them, or someone saw you suffering and you received their help. I want you to be as detailed as possible. Remember what was happening, who was there, where you were. Now I want you to think about how that feels. Notice how you're feeling. Where is that feeling? Now I invite everyone to open their eyes. That feeling is why I'm here. My name is Burrell Poe. I'm an alum of the class of 2012, and I'm here to bring Compassion It to Chicago. Compassion It is a nonprofit and a social movement around building compassionate attitudes and actions in ourselves and around the world. It's about turning compassion into a verb. We do this through our training and through our innovative bracelet that reminds people to compassion it every day. So with this bracelet, and I didn't get a chance to hand one out, but everyone will get one. Well, maybe not everyone, I'm sorry. But as many as I have, I will make sure that I litter the room with compassion bracelets. But it's a reversible bracelet, if you can see it. You wear it on one side at the beginning of the day, and when you compassion it, you flip it to the other side. And through this tool and through our training, we spread compassion around the world. We've had bracelets completely around the world. Everywhere. South America, England, Asia, Africa. These bracelets are around the world. But I'm here to bring compassion to Chicago. We're facing a lot of issues in Chicago. If anyone has a moment, can we name an issue that we're facing in Chicago? Gun violence, school closings, apathy, anger, and resentment. The way to cure those is through compassion. If you can think about that feeling that you felt, that feeling is powerful and it has the ability to change the world. The solutions to our problems are within all of us. I have a plan for bringing compassion to Chicago that involves a week of compassion around the UN International Peace Day, compassion education in schools, police departments, community organizations across the city, changing the narrative about how we talk about activism in our communities to revolve around compassion. And 4, to get the mayor of Chicago to sign the Charter of Compassion, making the city of Chicago a compassionate city. If you're wondering how compassion can change the world, I want you to think about this guy. And so a lot of people have opinions about Thomas Edison, but he believed that one light bulb can change the world. This is what Chicago looks like tonight. If each and every one of us can dedicate ourselves to compassion in our lives, then we can bring light to our city and to the world. Thank you.
Let me just clarify on the bracelet. After you have shown some compassion in the course of your day, that's when you get to flip it over?
Yes.
Okay. That's great. I mean, I think it's a cool, really super cool idea. I loved it. It was great. I think it's very important and great job.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we can go back to the first on the list, the Chicago SNCC History Project. We have 3 presenters. Nicole Wilson, Nefertari Kine and Nakaya Rapier. Did I butcher names? Did I do pretty good? I did good? Okay.
Hello. No. Actually, Neff is actually on the road. She's at the parking lot. But anyway, my name is Nicole Wilson, and I'm here representing the Chicago SNCC History Project. So if you don't know what SNCC is, it's the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Back in the 60s, and 60s to 66, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, led the fight on about nonviolent boycott in Mississippi. And so the Chicago area, Friends with SNCC, actually came together and to just archive the movement that was happening in Mississippi and in Chicago and all over the country. And eventually what ended up happening is they actually became their own activist group because they saw that it wasn't enough just to archive that information. It was also very important to be a part of that movement as well. And so with this organization, it's transformed into the SNCC History Project. And so we go into high schools right now, and we inform high school students of the legacy history that has happened in Chicago with the boycott, the school boycotting that they led, and then also we also do programs in different communities. Every year we do a Black History Conference, and we have an intergenerational space where we can learn from each other, elders and the young people in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. How many members do you have?
So there is a lot of members. Our board right now has 8 members.
Uh-huh. And where do you do the conferences, in the school or the educational?
So we do have school programs that is actually held in the schools. We have the conferences at colleges where we invite our high school students and also some college students as well. This year we had our conference at Benedictine University and Roosevelt University. It's a 3-day conference.
Great, awesome, thank you. Nice job.
Good job. All right, next we have the Intergenerational Theater of the Oppressed Project at the University of Chicago Arts Incubator. That is a mouthful. Is it Quena? Quena Barrett.
Hi.
You're welcome to stand up.
Thank you. This feels really strange. I'm going to come up here. Awesome. Thanks. And then I'm going to have some of you come up here too, if that's cool. So I'm Quena Barrett. I work at a place called the University of Chicago Arts and Public Life. We are actually not on campus. We are in the community of Washington Park, where most of the residents there are predominantly Black. It is a low-income neighborhood. This past spring, I piloted a program called the Intergenerational Theater of the Oppressed Project. So for short, I call it ITOP. Can everybody say ITOP? ITOP. Awesome. You guys are great at this audience interaction thing, so I'm going to have a couple of volunteers come up. So the program, my youngest student was 12, and the oldest participant was 77. And we had a group of about 20 people that basically just came together using theater to build community. And they worked on issues, they analyzed issues, right, that they face in their communities using theater, building community, and playing games. We just had a lot of fun to talk about these issues, and then they made scenes about these issues that we then took to a larger community to invite them to witness this, the project that they did, their scenes, but also that these are things that, those audience members are going through in their lives as well. And so the idea is that we're using this as an experience to have a conversation, have a dialogue in ways that we might not normally be able to, and for then the audience members to work with the group to figure out how do we come up with real life solutions to these issues. So the best way that I know how to explain this is to just do it. And so very quickly, I would love if I had maybe 3 or 4 volunteers come up and just like play with me for a moment. That would be really awesome. I know some people want to just come on up. Just come on up. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's do them. Awesome. So this is a community, right? We are here. This is a community. What are some things that you care about in this room? So just shout them out. Family. Awesome. Safety. Schools. Great. I think that's great. We'll just start there. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, let's do a warm-up first. How about you make an image with your body of how you're feeling in this very moment? So for me, I'm like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Great. Do we understand something about their images? right? Without words, we can kind of understand a little bit about what they're doing. Great, awesome. Okay, let that go. So I heard the word family. Make an image of what family means to you. What does that look like? Awesome. What do we see?
Nurturing.
Nurturing. We see babies. Awesome. Let's take the word safety. What does safety look like? Great. So yeah, just hold the image, just freeze it. Do we understand something about the story without words, right? Great. And then the last one was family safety and schools. Let's make an image of schools. So a frozen image. And I'm interested to hear what, if I tapped you and I asked you to speak from your character, what might you say?
I'm listening to the students.
Standardized test scores.
Thinking about my homework.
So thank you so much. This is just So this is just a little bit about our process, right? And so I would offer that images, our bodies carry stories that sometimes our brains won't allow us to tell, right? Especially in new environments with new people when we're learning people and meeting them for the first time. And so through ITOP, through this experience of using theater, we're able to have these new conversations and these new types of dialogues in ways that we don't normally often do. And so because it's an intergenerational program, we're able to break barriers of age, and we were also breaking barriers and stereotypes of race and gender because it was such a mixed and diverse group. And so thank you again. I just wanted to show a little bit about our process. And I just want to share one of the success stories that came from the program this spring. One of the older gentlemen, he was, at least late 60s, he said at the end of the program, he admitted that he had prejudged one of the younger kids because he came in with a hoodie and baggy pants. And he said, I was wrong, and I'm so grateful for this experience because it taught me that I can't just go around, in the world prejudging and assuming things about folks, or assuming things about people. Yeah, I said that right, sorry. So that's just something that I really carry with me the entire, after that program is that it's really changing the way that we can interact with folks. Funding goes to support stipends for the participants. We pay them. It goes to support meals so that we can break bread together. And it supports us to be able to take these experiences and do them with more community members. Thank you.
That's awesome. Of course I have to love that because it's what I do for a living. Do they turn into actual shows, performances?
They do. To date, so I've done two versions. So I've done one version with just teens. I haven't done it yet we haven't been able to do it. We weren't able to do it long enough because of funding with the intergenerational version. So the show was basically just a series of scenes that then the audience had a chance to step in to replace the protagonist to help them get further along their goal. So we're practicing their real life stories and real life issues that they go through, real life conflicts. So what I didn't show in the process was how we might move from an anti-image of an image that we're experiencing in real life to the image that we want to see or the image that we want to be experiencing in real life. And so how do we practice what that step is what would happen in the show.
It's great. Fantastic. Thank you.
That was fun. Okay, moving right along. Treatment alternatives for safe communities, other known as TASK. Lindsay Baumgartner.
Hey everyone, my name is Lindsay Baumgartner. I'm from the Public Ally Chicago class of 2012, and I'm also with TASK, Treatment Alternatives for Safe Communities. TASK is a nonprofit that works throughout the state of Illinois with people who are affected by substance use disorders, mental health issues, and justice system involvement. We help our clients to build well-being and become healthy and thriving members of our communities. We work throughout the state, as I said, to ensure that we reach those goals, and we have a particular focus in Cook County. Many of our clients come to us from Cook County Jail. We know that the time leaving the jail can be a very chaotic and stressful time. Many people are coming out of the jail with mental health issues, with substance use issues. Many don't have a safe place to go. Processing out of the jail can take a long time, so many people are released from jail in the middle of the night, and you're wearing whatever you went in with. So if you went into jail in the summer, you're coming out in the Chicago winter in shorts and flip-flops. It's a really scary time, and as you can imagine, it's a time when people are extremely vulnerable. We know from national data that 1 in 70 people who are released from jail will be hospitalized within 7 days. And in Cook County, more than 50% of the people who leave Cook County Jail will be back within 3 years. So obviously you have many people who are repeatedly cycling through jail and through emergency rooms. It's extremely expensive, and it's not a good way to build stability or help people get healthy. Luckily, TASK is positioned to help break that cycle. We have 40 years of experience working at the intersection of criminal justice and health. So to address some of these issues, TASK is partnering with the Cook County Sheriff's Office and other stakeholders to open a supportive release center for people who are leaving Cook County Jail with mental health and substance use issues. The supportive release center will help address some basic needs that people have immediately when they get out, getting them clothing, food, a chance to take a hot shower, make phone calls, to connect with family, etc. And we'll address those health issues. So we will actually get people connected to healthcare providers and actually get them appointments with those providers so they're walking out with a plan for primary health care, for mental health treatment, and for substance use treatment. If people need it, we will assist them with health insurance and Medicaid, and also making sure that they're getting the prescription medication that they need. We'll also refer them to other supportive services like housing and education if that's something that they need as well. The goals of the Supportive Release Center are to increase health, to reduce criminal justice involvement, and to reduce the use of emergency health care. We are also partnering with the University of Chicago Urban Labs to do a rigorous evaluation of this program so that we know that it's working well, and also so that we have the data on what works and that we've laid the groundwork for possible expansion and replication of this program. There's a big push for criminal justice reform right now, so it's time to strike while the iron's hot, while people are aware of this issue and put forth evidence-based practices. Investment from SixDegrees.org would be significant in demonstrating to other potential donors that this is a worthwhile cause to invest in. It would raise the public image of the project, and it would also help ensure that the SRC is there to help people get healthy, stay in their communities, and stay out of jail. That's it in a nutshell, and I think one-pagers went around, but if anybody has more questions later, I would love to talk to you about it and to answer any questions that you have.
My own question? That's awesome. Yeah, thank you. Sounds good. So you're going to start with this one center outside of the Cook County Jail.
Yes.
And do you know what the budget is for the whole project?
Yes. So for the first 2 years, it's $1.7 million. We have $250,000 left to raise. We actually have 2 fundraising events coming up in September and December, so it would be really cool to say, you guys should give because Kevin Bacon did. But we need to make sure that we have all of that capital up front so that we can do at least 2 years in order to collect the data that is needed for it to actually be a good evaluation.
Oh, that sounds great. I love it.
Great, thank you.
Job. Great presentation.
It's our final presenter, Polaris Charter Academy's Voice for Change. Hold on, I want to say your name. JD Van Slyke. Like, that's just an awesome name.
Thank you so much.
We didn't tell our people. Is that mine? It's mine, right? It's not mine. Okay. I've been drinking it. I thought it was yours for a second. JD, JD. Start the timer.
We are paired.
We are paired.
What we doing now, like doing a podcast, that can make a difference. Or if we get people to listen to us, which like how we've been doing rallies and things like that, because people really look up to young people, because if they see young people trying to make a difference and all that, that's how they know things are getting out of hand and they need to fix it. So I think that that's how young kids can make a difference.
So you just heard from Easter, and she is a 7th grader at Polaris Charter Academy, and she was reflecting on the podcast that she created with fellow Polaris 7th graders called Voices for Change. And if we could actually rewind a year and a half, I'm walking into Polaris Charter Academy in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood, and I really don't know what to expect. I go in a classroom that's crowded with about 57th graders, and I don't know that 85% of these students have experienced traumatic gun violence on the streets. Many of the students at Polaris Charter Academy never got to meet a parent or a grandparent because of gun violence. And what they wanted to do is start a podcast that would document their quest to find and promote peace in their neighborhoods. So for these students, this was a very personal project. If we don't know a story, we tend to make something up. And I think that the tragic truth is that for students like the students at Polaris, in neighborhoods like Humboldt Park, is that their story is being told by the media or people with limited experience outside of their circle. And so these students were able to create change by reclaiming their narrative and by telling their story. And I would also say that they didn't only just talk, they listened. And that was a really big, important part of the podcast Voices for Change. So during a really tense time where there was a lot of tension between their neighbors and police officers, they listened to protesters in Baltimore, and they listened to police officers. They reached out to some really incredible people. A filmmaker who knew Emmett Till's mother and wanted to create a film about her experience after her son's tragic death. The second black man to win the National Book Award. They reached out to aldermen and peers, and they asked a very simple question. It is, how can we as young people create peace? And so this next clip is a student, Solomon, who is reflecting a little bit on what he learned by asking that question.
One of the advice was to bring our neighborhood and police together and work out simple problems. Just clean up the streets, and they actually did that there, which is pretty cool.
So these students, they didn't wait for anybody else to come in and create change. They took immediate action. And they did that by organizing a neighborhood cleanup and a peace rally that brought police officers and residents in the neighborhood together to promote mutual understanding and respect for each other. Right now, there is a national spotlight on the violence in Chicago. And I firmly believe that the city is about to go through a time of transformation and positive change. And the people that are going to lead that is not the New York Times. It's not going to be lawmakers in Washington. I firmly believe that the people that will be leading this change are students like the ones at Polaris Charter Academy. And so, yes. I would like to end with the intro that the students created for their podcast. And I do this not only to illustrate their mad editing skills, but I also want you to hear the voices of the people that are going to be creating change in this city.
Voices.
Voices for change. Voices for change. Voices for change.
Voices for change.
Thank you.
So just tell me, just on the technical side, how you put it together. Do you record them, and how's it work?
So it's all student directed. We're working with 50 seventh graders, and so they organized into teams of 5, and in each of those teams they had an editor, a producer, and a host. And so they each had their role in creating their story, and each had their own person that they interviewed.
And then you put it up as a podcast, and then they listen to each other's, and did it get shared around outside of the school?
Yeah, I mean, we shared it a little bit on the internet, but that's actually one of the reasons why we could use support from SixDegrees.org. We need money for a website to really broadcast this and market it so their voices can be heard. So we have a lot of good recordings that need to be shared with the world.
Are you also hoping to expand to other schools and other towns, etc.?
That's a really interesting question. When we asked the students kind of in a post-program interview, what do you want to see in the future? They said, we want to bring this to other schools. And this is something that they've had experience with. There's a project called the Peacekeepers Project, which started in another school but came to Polaris. And they cited that. They were just like, we would like to be peacekeepers, but bring this, to other schools. So it's something they're excited about.
Well, it's great. It was great to hear their voices. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well that concludes. This is the only time probably someone said that they wish that they weren't you, because you have to decide.
I know.
There's clearly a lot of great work being done, and whether you're watching online or you're in Peggy's right now, I want to encourage people to link up with these organizations that are doing a great work. Donate, volunteer your time, find out other ways you could be a resource, because that's what we need. We need to gather together, tell people about what's being done in Chicago and elsewhere so it can grow and really be successful.
Well, I guess first off, let me say it's tough. Certainly, I thought every proposal, everybody was fantastic. I think it's, first off, thank you so much to Peggy's for being able to host this event. It's really great. I love to see you guys. And obviously to Public Allies, when Stacy told me about Public Allies and the concept and the work that they're doing, in supporting these not-for-profits, I was really, blown away by that. Just as an idea, I think it's so great, and I think it's obviously working from hearing all the good stuff. Honestly, I can't really decide, so I think what we're going to do is just divide it up and give everybody a check. It's not a big one, but I'd rather spread it out a little bit. I got the bracelet on, So thank you all. We'll just split it up, and it's like I said, it's not a lot, but hopefully it's a little. It's better than nothing. So, so I appreciate all the good work that you're all doing down here on the ground, and everyone's heart is in the right place, and it's beautiful to see. So thank you.
Thank you. Can I just the stage to take a picture with Kevin? Yeah. And also all the contestants, so to speak, everyone that pitched.
Take that. Who is this for? The MC? And this for Kevin? Did they give the bottle?
Hello, let's get some smiles. Here we go. Can't decide if I want to use a flash or not.
professional certification.